Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to look at 8 signs that you're in the presence of somebody who is pretending to like you but really doesn't care, also known as a narcissist, because that's exactly what they do. They invite you into their presence, not because they care about you, but because they just want to see what they can get from you. So we're going to look at 8 signs, according to psychology, that you're surrounded by or in the presence of a person who doesn't really care about you. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before we dive into this article together, on the 8 signs that you are in the presence of somebody who really doesn't care about you, also known as a narcissistic person, let me remind you that I am here to support you. Down in the description box right below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. Also, the Rowie does have a private membership available for you where you can get daily live support from me and a growing community of people from all over the world. We have a workout program for you. We have weekly fellowship to explore what the Bible has to say about narcissistic abuse and so much more, all in the privacy of a members-only app. You can download the membership app down below. Also, the Rowie does have merchandise available for you. You can pick up a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, even a coffee mug. And by the way, the first person to take a picture of their shirt or mug or hat or sweatshirt, post it on Instagram, and tag me at Join the Royal We, will get a free 1-hour appointment, and I truly hope that it is you. So pick up your Rowie merchandise, put it on Instagram, give me a shout out. Now, let's get into this article together. 8 signs you're surrounded by people who don't really care about you, according to psychology. Now, the reason I say that these are going to be narcissistic people is because only narcissists will invite you into their presence, but not really care about you. You're going to discover that when you deal with narcissistic people, even in the early stages, you're going to see that they're really only in your presence, judging you up and down, looking you left and right, asking you certain questions to gauge whether or not they can get something from you. But when it comes to listening to you, hearing you out, getting to know you even, well, their body language and even the way in which they are listening is going to give you all kinds of red flags that they're just not even paying attention. They just don't even care. You might even feel like you're wasting your time. You might feel awkward talking with them. You might, these are the red flags, the internal red flags that you're in the presence of somebody who doesn't really care. Now, I'm not going to read this article word for word, but we're going to cover the 8 main points according to psychology and see how right they are. Beginning with number 1, the first sign that you're in the presence of somebody who is pretending to care about you, but really doesn't, is that they only listen with one ear while you're talking. Here's what it says. It says, you could practically see their eyes glaze over when you're talking to them. Maybe they're too busy checking their phone to make proper eye contact, or they constantly interrupt you with a story about themselves. Yes, this is absolutely true. I agree 100%. A narcissistic person who really doesn't care about you is only interested in gauging what they can get from you in any conversation. The moment you start talking, they might pretend to listen, but within seconds, their eyes are going to glaze over. And they're going to fidget. They might look at their phone. They might interrupt you, making noises or mirroring or repeating what you're saying back to you or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to add one more thing. And this one always got to me. And that's that they're going to be looking for other people to talk to. So they may engage with you in a conversation, start talking with you. And the moment you start talking back and you feel like you have something to say and you feel like you're going to have a good conversation, suddenly they have a friend or something right there. And they're like, hey, Eric, hey, what's up, man? Oh, sorry. And then they're engaging in a conversation and you didn't even get to begin what you wanted to say, really. So these things can be very uncomfortable, very awkward, and all of this really amounts to them being a narcissistic person, and you have to take this as a red flag. They're not engaging with you because they really care and they're interested in you and they want to hear what you have to say. They're really just talking at you while judging you and assessing you to see what they can get from you. And when it comes to you talking and sharing ideas or thoughts, if they're looking at their phone, if they're looking away, or if suddenly somebody better comes along and they completely cut you off and engage with that person, well, the signs are obvious. They don't care about you, nor do they care about the conversation with you. Don't waste your time. As a matter of fact, I'm at this place now where if that happens, I just leave. I'm like, whatever. I mean, you're going to ask me questions and you're going to talk with me and then look at your friend and talk to them the moment they walk up and cut me off. Nah, I'm out. Don't come back and talk to me. And typically narcissists won't. They'll know right away that you have boundaries. They'll know right away that you're not there for them to see what they can get from you, and they'll leave you alone. All right. Number 2, it says this: they make everything about them. Yes, this is an obvious one. A person who doesn't care about you, but invites you into their presence and starts talking about themselves. No matter what you say, they're just kind of cutting you off. They're just waiting for their turn to talk at you, basically. There's a difference between somebody listening to you and just waiting to talk at you. And that's what most narcissistic people do. And a lot of times people, you might think, well, maybe they're just nervous and maybe that's why they do that. I don't know. Again, people who want to get to know you and people who are going to care about you, they want to get to know you. They want to hear your thoughts. They want to hear your expressions. If they're constantly cutting you off and injecting their successes when you're trying to share something good about you, this is just the pattern of their behavior. Somebody who's not able to listen to you and makes everything about them will always make everything about them on any issue. So that's an important one for you to understand, all right, and to remember. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3 says they're strangely absent when you need help. It says this here: you're struggling. Maybe you're moving houses in the pouring rain or coping with a tough breakup, and you reach out for a hand and you get crickets. Yes, these people might be all smiles at a party or a happy hour, but when you need actual support, they vanish into thin air. This is absolutely true. And it's very common with narcissistic types of personalities that they are, in fact, great when you are at a party. And again, they're talking at you, not really listening to you. They're just in a place of boasting, and they really feel like they've got you and they're winning you over. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're such an amazing person. That's really the only time a narcissistic person is ever going to be there for you, is when you're sitting there practically rubbing their hiney and telling them how special they are, letting them know how special they are as they talk at you, right? And not even really listen to you based on the other things that this article has to say. But when you genuinely need help, you're like, hey, listen, we've been talking for months and could you help us move or help us do this? They're gonna not be there. They always have something come up. I remember when I was dealing with the narcissistic in-laws, the mother of my kids and I were in fact getting ready to move at one point, and it was her half brother at one dinner table, gathering. He's like, oh yeah, give me a call. I'll help you out. Definitely. I'll help you out. And this guy typically just talking about himself and flashing whatever, all of his stuff. Anyways, came time, reached out, unavailable, right? Just can't do it. So this is very common with these types of personalities, especially after they say they will help, and they don't, right? They always have an excuse, always have a reason not to be able to be there for you when you really need something. And this is just in the physical world, never mind the emotional support. If you are having trouble, if you're depressed, if you're down, if you're anxious about something, forget talking to one of these people. They will just go silent. I mean, talk about watching someone's eyes glaze. Try talking to a narcissistic person about your problems. They almost get afraid of it. Anytime you are bringing up feelings, they will become terrified, which is wild because most narcissistic people, they want to yell and scream and they want you to understand their pain through yelling and screaming and raging. But when you're down and when you're sad and you want to talk about something, oh my goodness, what an inconvenience for them. And they look at you as though you're speaking a different language. They make you feel like you're an alien. They make you feel like, well, how dare I have emotions and be able to share them? Because a narcissistic person is going to make you feel bad about having these emotions because they can't handle it. This is one of the devastating things about narcissistic personalities is the hypocrisy. on how they need other people to understand their emotions, and they express their emotions through anger and through rage. But anybody else who needs them to listen to their emotions, or the narcissistic person is going to be absent. They can't handle it. There's not enough room for a narcissist and anybody else's emotions. There just as isn't. It's very sad. So that is definitely a true one right there. And that was number 3. They're strangely absent when you need help. Same is true if you're sick, by the way. If you're sick and you're with a narcissistic person, you're kind of screwed. As a matter of fact, they're going to make you feel more bad for being sick, right? Why are you sick? Why are you laying around? Why don't you feel good? You never get sick. Well, what am I supposed to do now? Who's going to make dinner? Who's going to do, right? This is what you're going to get whenever you're sick dealing with a narcissistic person. They're going to make you feel worse. It's horrible. Number 4. The 4th sign that you're dealing with somebody who doesn't really care for you and they're in your presence is they often belittle or dismiss your achievements. Yes, this is absolutely true as well. Here's what it says. It says, ever have that friend or coworker who always finds a way to downplay your accomplishments? Well, this could be a family member too, right? You excitedly announce you've started a new business and they respond with, oh, it's probably not that hard. Anyone can do that these days. Something to that extent. I mean, that's a mild response. You know, anytime you have any kind of accomplishment, small or big, a narcissistic person or somebody who doesn't care about you is going to downplay that. This is one of the biggest signs that you know they don't care about you. And it's so confusing because these people will tell you they do care about you, right? But you're left wondering, well, if you care about me, then why don't you encourage me? Why don't you say I'm proud of you? Why don't you applaud me? Well, they can't. Them applauding you is taking away from them. It's almost like you all are sharing one oxygen tank, and they're viewing it as, well, if you're going to breathe that oxygen, well, they're going to die. And that's literally how narcissistic people see that. They view accomplishments and praise, applause. They view accomplishments, applause, praise, attention. To a narcissistic person, this is the same as oxygen. And if you're getting it, then they're not. So they're not going to give you some of their oxygen. They would rather just demean you, devalue the situation, say things like, that's not that big of a deal. And they really do. It's bizarre. This is how you know you're dealing with somebody who truly doesn't care about you. They belittle, dismiss, and I dealt with this with the in-laws. At that time, I was making music. I enjoyed making music and being creative, and I made the mistake of trying to show them, hey, this is my new song, this and that. It's all right. I wouldn't listen to that, but I guess that's okay. Really? One of the girls said, oh, Kevin, you're still making that weird music? I mean, literally, just putting it down. And of course, they call it joking. This is just how we joke. Again, something that only somebody who doesn't care about you would say, right? Somebody who cares about you wouldn't even joke that way. So they often dismiss or belittle your achievements. Absolutely. This is how you know the person doesn't truly care for you. All right. Moving on now. Number 5. Number 5 says they never apologize. Absolutely. This goes without saying. If there's one universal truth that says about genuine connections, it's this. We all mess up sometimes. This is true. I mess up, you mess up, we all do. And we're willing to own it. I know when I mess up and hurt somebody, I own it immediately, right? Only when I feel I've done something wrong, I own it. I no longer apologize because somebody else is angry with me. I've talked about this in a video because narcissistic people will be angry with you. There's no need to apologize because you're apologizing for their anger. But when I mess up, when I really say something that I know I shouldn't have said, or if I behave in a way that I know I shouldn't behave in, and I walk away and I feel that inside, whether they're angry or not, I'm going to go back and I'm going to apologize. Okay? With narcissistic people or people who don't care about you, they're never going to apologize. So they will cuss you out, demean you, devalue you, call you names, tell you all kinds of horrible things about you. and walk away, and that's it. Years go by. And this is really sad with family, especially. This is what creates the division in families. You have some family members that just cannot apologize for the things they've done. And what's even crazier is they put it on you. They put their lack of apologizing on to you, either in saying, well, you never let me know it bothered you, right? I didn't know, or I was just joking, or whatever the case may be. This is where we get into the differences of personalities, whether you're dealing with a narcissist or an empath. An empath will already, by their nature, just know they said something or did something that maybe wasn't polite. A narcissistic person doesn't care. They don't care if they're polite to you or not. They don't care if they say something that's hurtful or not. And that's what this article is about, is knowing whether or not you're in the presence of somebody who cares about you. Because the truth is that you have to care about yourself enough to stop engaging with people who will never apologize and own up to their mistakes. All right. Number 6, they avoid deeper conversations. Yes. It says this, talking about the latest Netflix hit or their new sneakers is easy. Absolutely. But try to bring up your personal struggles, your hopes, or your fears, and suddenly it's like you're speaking a foreign language. Yes, absolutely. They shut it down, redirect the conversation to something trivial. Yeah. Narcissistic people, or somebody who doesn't care about you, obviously their conversations are going to be very shallow. Shallow or serving them. That's how you know they don't care about you. And narcissistic people tend to live in this plane of shallow conversations. Oh, how was the game? How's the Super Bowl? Did you watch it? What did you think of the team? Or this or that, or their shoes, the sneakers, the money they're making, whatever the case may be. But they do at all costs avoid deeper conversations. This is a huge red flag that you have to pay attention to. Somebody who's not willing to engage with you in a deep conversation, what it's really saying is that they are too afraid of intimacy. They have a fear of intimacy. They have a fear of feelings. This will never play out in a healthy relationship. It will always cause problems because you need somebody intimately that you can have deep conversations with. You need somebody who you can feel safe having deep conversations, not somebody who's going to run away from them. And narcissistic people run away from deep conversations. The reason is because it gets too close to feelings. And then they're going to have to try to understand your feelings. And they're afraid of that. They can't do it. They're afraid, or they don't care, or they don't want to. But according to this article, it says it's because they don't care, which is a part of it. Somebody who doesn't want to listen to a deep conversation that you're trying to have with them does not care about you. This is absolutely true, right? Somebody who only wants to talk shallow stuff with you, or they bail. And I experience this a lot. There's a lot of people in my life, even today, who will come around me. They have no problem being shallow. We can talk about stupid nonsense stuff, music or whatever. But the moment I start talking, for example, a little bit about what I do and coaching people, my experiences, like they're gone. Like they're like almost like they're afraid or intimidated by it. Right? Again, I think it's either they don't truly care about me, or they just genuinely don't like intimate, deep things. Who knows, right? Moving on to number 7. Somebody who doesn't care about you, but is pretending to, will criticize you more than they compliment you. Absolutely. It says this, it's one thing to have a friend who offers constructive feedback, right? I welcome friends who offer constructive feedback. This is true. But it's a whole other story if every conversation feels like you're on the hot seat. They're just picking stuff out about you. Absolutely. They might nitpick how you dress. Yeah, I've had people nitpick about how I dress, this coat, chain, whatever. They might nitpick how you talk or your life choices, yet rarely have a kind word to share. Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, that right there is red flag if not number 1, number 2, that you're dealing with somebody who does not care about you. They are just there to judge you. They're there to criticize you. And the question we all have is why? Why does somebody need to go to another person and judge them and criticize them? Well, for a narcissistic person, it serves 2 main purposes. Number 1, in their mindset, if they can judge you, criticize you, put you down, there's a possibility they can turn you into their little servant, meaning you will look up to them and say, please help me, lead me, teach me, guide me, oh master. And now you are oppressed, and now you are in servitude to them. And that's one reason a narcissistic person will demean and devalue and criticize you more than compliment you, is to see if you will play into that and become their servant, and they can get what they want from you. And if that's not the case, well, then they're criticizing you is simply out of jealousy, out of envy. And it's an attempt to put you down so they can elevate themselves and feel good about themselves again. So it's one of those. A person who's constantly criticizing you is doing it to either see if they can create a master-servant relationship, or B, they're just trying to feel good because they can see that it's not going to be a master-servant relationship, and you could potentially outshine them. In fact, you do outshine them. Therefore, they have to criticize you just to feel good about their sorry selves. This is what I dealt with the in-laws. They knew when I was there that I was not going to give in to this place of servitude to their family. Never once did I buy into their stupid nonsense of, you married into this family, right? They're trying to create this servitude thing. They're trying to fit me into their mold of their hierarchy. And I was like, no. As a matter of fact, I'm so hard no on that I'm not coming over to Christmas Eve. I don't care. And so I started backing out. I started not showing up, started saying no. And they hated that because they couldn't form that master-servant relationship with me. I'm too much of an independent person anyways by my nature. As a matter of fact, one of the narcissists, the grandmother, said this at one point. There was one evening we were all together and she looked at me and she goes, oh, Kevin, you're just going to do what you want, aren't you? You're just going to be yourself. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, don't we all? I mean, you telling me that your divorced kids and grandkids, they don't just do whatever they want? But you really need me. You want me to bow down and serve you because I'm outside of your family, while your family gets to do whatever the hell they want. No, y'all are stupid. I'm not going to bow down in servitude to a family of people that does whatever they want but wants outsiders to serve them. This is class A narcissistic nonsense, right? So when that doesn't happen, when you don't serve them, again, they criticize you. They criticize you simply to feel better. They're looking for things wrong with you. They're looking for things wrong in anything that you do simply so they can appear in their own minds as being better than you. It helps them. It helps their fragile egos not to look at your bright light. They're trying to dim that light of yours down, so to speak. Number 8, they leave you feeling worse, not better. And this is true. Any engagement with a person who does not really care for you is going to make you feel worse. Pay attention to how you feel. I put this in another video, but we typically are looking for red flags outside of us. We're looking for the red flags of what they show us. We all need to start paying attention to the red flags inside of us. Meaning, how do we feel? How comfortable are we talking to this person? What does it feel like in the room with this person? Is there awkwardness? Are we clamming up? Are we finding ourselves walking on eggshells? Are we finding ourselves shy about saying what we need to say? These are red flags that you're not feeling good. Your body's giving you signals that something's off. There's a reason you feel you're walking on eggshells. There's a reason you feel you can't really express yourself. And the reason is because you're dealing with somebody who doesn't care. And so they leave you feeling worse, not better. It says this: if hanging out with someone leaves you feeling anxious, drained, downright unhappy, that's your gut telling you something important. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It might not be something they say outright, but you just sense the vibe is off. It says this: emotional contagion is real. Humans can catch others' emotions, especially empaths. If someone's constantly negative or indifferent to your well-being, you'll feel that energy. Yeah, that's what I felt with the in-laws. Constantly indifferent, constantly negative around me. And over time, this can seriously impact your mental health. Absolutely. This is very true. So it's important that you are in tune with your feelings, even the red flags that you feel, not because of necessarily anything they said or have done, because maybe they didn't do anything, but in their presence, you feel this awkwardness, you feel stuffed, you feel suffocated. Pay attention to that. Super important. As I said before, I am here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. Telephone calls are available through Zoom, or video calls are available too, through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So you can head on down there, schedule some time with me. Also, the Rowie does have a private membership available for you where you can get daily live support from me and a growing community of people from all over the world. If you're brand new to the Royal We, be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future Royal We content, hit the like button, share this video with somebody who needs to watch it. I'll be back with more right here. Bye, everybody.